Hello, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And yeah, okay, seriously. I don't even know, but I'm hoping this is going to be helpful because it's just that when people come to me and ask me for an advice, sincerely hoping that I give them a good advice. To be honest, first of all, I do not like giving advices and especially do not like giving my opinion. But then when I sit on it, and I think about it, the longer I think about it, and I think, okay, maybe this is something maybe worth discussing, maybe worth picking up the mic for, so that maybe it can be helpful again to somebody else who may be in that position. So, for example, it is in a way related to, again, in a way, it is related to the previous two podcasts, amazingly. I hope I'm not going to ramble this time because I'm too tired to even talk to him, to be honest. But if I again wait anymore, then at the end of the day, I will end up losing the points again. And I'll probably end up rambling more instead of talking to the point. So I'll try to make it a little more precise as I can, I'm hoping. And if you're listening to any background noises here, it's because my fan is off because yes, the rains again, these are the change of weather rains, the rains that bring in the autumn, not just the autumn vibes, but the actual autumn. So it's a bit cooler, and so I'm sitting without a fan, and so that means that you will listen to many sounds in the background amplified. So let's move on to the topic at hand. And as I said, because somebody asked me this advice, and this is something that actually a few people have in a way talked about recently, it seems to have accumulated. And that is that, as I said, remember I talked about gifting and friends and all, and relationships and all. And obviously, when you have two very good friends or sisters or brothers or, relatives or whatever, and they are always, giving stuff to each other or doing stuff for each other and all. And then a dispute, a slight sort of a dispute occurs in the sense that, okay, suddenly two people like the same thing. And now a person like me who has no business whatsoever to be involved in it, I get dragged in and involved, and they're asking, okay, so two people like the same thing. And I really want it. And I feel that because I would always give in. And in the situation that if he or she would want it. So if now for the first time I feel like I really want this thing, then is it okay if I go ahead and say that, okay, you know what? This is the first time that I'm actually expecting you to give in. And yeah, to be fair, it makes sense, okay? If you feel, but again, it depends again on how you're feeling, right? As I said, this is something that's a bit hard to define. Because, for example, if you have two brothers, okay, and one brother is, according to him, always giving up something for the other brother, and in his, because it's in his head that he's always giving in for the other brother. He tends to overlook the fact that his brother has probably also given up some stuff that was important to him, right? So when you tend to think about all the stuff, that is why, again, it comes crucially, as I said, it's similar to my previous podcast, because this is why it becomes so crucial when I say that, you know what, whenever you do something for somebody, just forget it, because if you think and always remember about what you've done for somebody or what you're giving somebody, believe me, you will automatically, unconsciously, you will disregard the fact that the other person is probably also doing something in return for you. So instead, it's always good to focus on what the other person has done for you. I think it makes things easier. I know that in today's world where people are getting more and more classless, it's not that there is no mannerism or etiquette in our culture. No, it exists. But the problem is that now on a global level, we've all become very classless people. We've become very mean-spirited people. Let's be honest. We've become, and that is why we are lacking in etiquettes and in social mannerisms. It's basically because we are keeping the useless aspects of our culture that actually are meaningless, whereas we have vanquished the most important aspects of our cultures, which are, again, the way we sit, the way we stand, the way we talk, the way we behave, the way we talk to each other, the way we treat each other. as in I said, the etiquette of gifting and the etiquette of relationships and social mannerisms, and so all that. So this comes in that. This is a key etiquette, again, that we tend to disregard because we've become more and more classless as people, and because again we're so intent on, and again because as a whole society we've become so classless. So now those of us who never would have even gone there. Now, even we are forced to now keep at hand a list of the things, at least mentally, of what it is that we've done for others. Because, as I said, people have become so classless that they're so busy reminding others of whatever it is that they've done for others that they forget the fact that others are probably doing much more for them in return, right? And I've cited many such examples, even if not very clearly. And the reason I've not cited very, very clear examples is I couldn't be any more clearer than that without giving up the people I'm talking about. And I really do not want to embarrass anybody here. So that is why I'm trying to keep it as clear as possible without divulging too deeply into the exact situations. So I'm hoping everybody can put two and two together and understand, because these are situations that are universal and they're generic and they can happen to anybody. And in fact, they do pretty much happen to everybody every now and then. So yeah, so I think that is why we're now forced to always remind ourselves too of what we've given others and what we've done for others. But I still would advise that maybe program your mind in such a way where you should forget whatever it is that you've done for somebody until that person reminds you of what it is that they've done for you. And that is when you can immediately, again, as I said, people always remember anyway, the way it is. And so whether they respond in kind or not is the debate here, isn't it? Majority people, again, as I said, those who are classless, they're the ones who would talk about it. And the other people, on the other hand, would refrain from it because, again, it's not classy. And again, it's also against Islam, sitting there and reminding somebody, oh yeah, you did this for me, I did this for you too. Okay, I'll give you a very small example of how, again, this is why I hate taking things from people and I hate feeling that I should owe anybody anything. People could be so mean. I think I'll just give my own example here to make things easier. There was a time, well, not there was a time, but I mean, generally as a person, I am the kind of person, and this is also in connection to the point I'm trying to make anyway. I'm the kind of person where if somebody likes something, I give that thing to that person, or I get that thing for that person. If somebody especially asks for it, and I am the kind of person that if I get something for somebody, I do not expect anything in return, and I especially do not like that they should give me anything in return, and I do not even care about the whole money aspect. And as I said, this is one good etiquette or part of our culture that we still have in our society, in Pakistan especially, where yes, it is common that you give something to somebody and you do not take money, right? You've noticed that all the foreigners have even talked about it. It's not just about food, actually. This is how we treat each other in general, how we treat our friends and family. For example, okay, here's this basic thing, how traditionally, culturally, this etiquette that prevails, how it goes is that even if I'm at the petrol pump, for example, if I'm at the petrol pump and my uncle, my maternal or paternal uncle, for example, they come at the same petrol pump and they see me, and obviously I would get out to greet them because they're my elders. And in return, what would they do? They would pay for my petrol money and go. Yes, because they consider themselves that, oh, we're the elders, and right now we're like her guardian, and so we're the next to kin, in the sense that after her father, and or it's us, we're like her father figures. Why should we let her pay for her petrol? You understand, this is traditionally how, in our families, how we behave. You understand? This is how we behave. This is how we do for each other. If I will go with my nephew, for example, somewhere, now my nephew will think that, oh, I'm a boy and I will not let her pay for anything. But I will be thinking, I am the aunt, I am the elder person here. He's not earning. He shouldn't pay a penny. It's on me. And this tussle will happen. It will always happen. It will always continue. You understand? Until I will actually put my foot down and order him that, excuse me, I'm doing it. You sit down. You save your money. And as you know, this is how most adults, as responsible adults, we do that because we have been there. We have been the young ones who didn't have money. We've been those young ones who also wanted to give something to somebody, even though we had nothing, and now we're in the position that we can do something. So we would prefer we do it. This is the etiquette. This is that etiquette. This is that culture. This is that norm. This is that social mannerism that we still thankfully manage to uphold. Although, to be honest, it is also dying. Again, it's dying mainly because of the financial crisis that is killing it. It's not dying because of our intentions or because we don't want to do it. No, it's getting difficult to uphold this kind of etiquette. It's true. And this is again where I would come in and say that, don't even expect it because it's not your right. You may think it's your right because we have grown up in such a way where it is, expected, but it's not our right. I think we should learn also to appreciate that as a generosity and as a very fine and good etiquette, but not something that's our birthright. Again, you see, this is where we need to do our part in our consideration for others, right? So yeah, you will see that in families like my nephews. They are overly generous and we're always curbing their enthusiasm of being generous. We're always telling them, keep your money, but actually my parents have kind of taught them and trained them also at the same, especially my mother, because she's into all that a lot more, and it's in her family also a lot. So she kind of trained them to this, that they should, if they have something extra, they should think about giving to others in the family. So yes, when they do suddenly, for example, get money, or if they suddenly, have money, and the first thing they would do is they would go and get my mother something, you know and then they would probably get their mother something. But I always stop them from getting me anything because my problem is that I'm always stressing out about their money, and I'm like, you're not even earning, for crying out loud. Keep your money, because when you'll need it, then at the end you will still have to ask from your parents or your grandparents for money. So keep it, save your money, okay? No need to overspend in your excitement. But they will still try to sneak it in somewhere. And the same thing was with my cousin. Like when we traveled together, I and my mom and my cousins and my uncle and my aunt, and we had traveled out of the city and we stayed a night or two at a hotel and all. And then when we went to the shops, what was going on? My mom was buying suits for herself and for my aunt, and my aunt was also buying stuff for herself and my mom. And then my cousin, who was younger than me, very much younger that time, is just a teenager, he went and he got me this absolutely lovely locket. Obviously it wasn't very expensive, but the fact that he even thought that as a boy he felt that he had to buy me and his sister something, that was a very, very sweet gesture. And as I said, that is how we're brought up. That is how generally families in Pakistan are brought up. And that is why you see this generosity when tourists come, and they get flabbergasted, they get kind of, very, very pleasantly surprised, you can say, and even shocked when they see that generosity shown to them. Because as I said, that is how we're taught that there are things that we need to do for guests, and there are things that we need to do for our elders and for our females in the family, and so there's this thing. So this thing, yeah, trust people to always interrupt me when I am doing a podcast. Seriously, this has been the third time in a row today alone. Okay, so as I said, this is just a thing that we have. Now, this thing, as I said, is now sort of dying down, not because of lack of good intentions, but because, again, as I said, there is this new trend that has started where you have to look at the monetary value of things, and you have to look at the, you suddenly start getting into the, how do we say, into the superficial aspects of it. And so it's becoming more and more difficult for people to fulfill this very otherwise normal cultural norm, right? So they're moving past that, as I said. So if two people are already, making sacrifices for each other or always giving something to each other, but one person is constantly thinking about how much they have given, forgetting that the other person has probably given much more in return. And then they start using that as an excuse to say that, okay, this time I want this thing. So, I think I'm justified. I'm absolutely justified because if it was me, I would have given it. And, so, okay. So, in this particular case, this was actually two old friends who, who of which one friend is leaving the country. And even when my friend was leaving the country, when she called us to her house and gave us a dinner and everything, and she asked all of us to pick whatever it is that we wanted and that we should take it. We picked books. I picked up a set of butterflies, hanging butterflies that you could stick to the wall or hang. And, so this is how we all picked whatever we wanted. And we all gave a humongous regard to each other, as to whoever wanted something or whoever put his hand on something first. We would say, okay, fine. We wouldn't start saying, oh, I wanted that too. You understand? So, in fact, I also made sure to first ask, does anybody want the butterflies? And are you sure you don't want to take the butterflies back with you when you're going back abroad? And she's like, yeah, no, I don't want to take the butterflies. I'll have to leave them. So take them. And others were also like, yeah, you take them. We don't want them. This is how we gave regard to each other. Now, in this instance, these old friends, they meet up, and and one of them, they introduce a new friend. They take a new friend with them, to help the other friend, because she's leaving now, and she's leaving complete, as in she's moving abroad to her children, and she's selling off her furniture and stuff. So a new friend is introduced into the picture to help her buy stuff and to help the other friend sell stuff. But meanwhile, a day or two prior to that, a deal had already been struck between the two old friends on an item. And, she's like, okay, I'll keep this for you. I won't let anybody else take it. When you come, whenever you want, you take it and you pay for it and you take it, but I won't let anybody else take it. So this new friend that comes in the picture now says that, oh, I like this thing too. And now, because I have always done so much for you, again, disregarding the fact that if you've done so much for her, she has helped you in countless ways and done so much stuff for you, let alone introducing you into the whole area, and then introducing you to her friends, and then helping you out whenever you need stuff, So, okay, you're disregarding all of that, and you're saying, oh, because, I've done a few things for you, so now I think that I have the right that if this time I say I want this thing, then you need to, that I think that I have the right to have this expectation that you need to let go this time. And so when this thing came to me, which I seriously was trying to avoid, and I was literally going around saying that, listen, I don't even know what the hell is going on, and I don't even want to be a part of it and all, but okay. And then at the end, I said two things. I'm like, listen, because I was asked, oh, what would you do? I'm like, listen, what I do is I always give way to the other person. I don't think that I have done so much for that person, so now if I want this, then this person owes me this. I'm like, I don't think that way. So this is all I can say. But the person kept on pushing me, saying, no, but still, and I'm like, well, still, but this is it. At the end of the day, this is how I am. You asked me what I would do, and this is how I am, is that I don't think about how much I've done for somebody. I think about that person wants. First of all, I think about the fact that that person was the first person to strike a deal, right? That person has already struck a deal before you even came into the picture, right? Number two, that person introduced you to their friends to help you out because you wanted to buy something, they wanted to sell something. Okay, so that's the second thing I would look at. And I'm like, number three, I think that if I've paid even for that person, I've paid on his behalf, and I know that this person is going to come and pay me as soon as we come back home, but I have put the money on this person's behalf, so to me it's an amanat. I cannot think that because I've paid the money, it is my money. I paid it on their behalf, but it is my money. So I think I'm entitled to say that, oh, if I want this thing, because I have paid for it. And you see, this takes me back to the first part of the last two podcasts that I did, where I said, this is why I do not like taking things from people, because And this is, I've actually berated a few people who have been very close to me on this fact when I've told them that you do not know how to give. And they're like, oh no, we know how to give. We're parents. We've been giving our children. And I'm like, no, you don't know how to give. You don't know the meaning of giving something. When you give something to somebody, it's no longer yours. The fact that you think that because we're the father or the mother and because I'm earning the money and I'm paying the money and I'm giving that money, so I have the right to take that money back, for example. Like, for example, there's this person, a man, who keeps on and on forcing his child to let him to give the child money and put it into the account and everything, right? And keep on saying, oh, well, after all, it's for you, and after all, it's for you, and it's yours, and it's yours. But then he thinks nothing of it when he needs the money. And he says, oh, you know what, I need the money. So can you just give me back that money? And that is why I'm like, you don't know how to give. This is not giving. You know what giving is? You've given the money. You've put it into the account of your child. It's no longer yours. And you know why your child never took a cent out of that money? Because that child has lived their whole lives with a parent like you, where they know that you just yap, but your actions speak otherwise. And as I said, actions speak louder than words. You're yapping that, oh, it's your money, oh, it's you, it's for you, I'm putting it in your account, you should use it, it's you. And then you complain that the child has never used that money, not a penny, not a cent of it, in all this time. Why? Because, again, they know that you have not given them jack shit. No, they know. They know that anytime you may suddenly stand up and say, oh, you know what? Actually, I need that money, so I'm taking it back. Again, you do not know how to give. That is not giving. And in Islam, actually, that is looked at with great resentment. Yes, with great displeasure. It is not liked. And if a parent does that, then it is worse. It is even worse. So imagine if two people who are friends or brothers or siblings, they do that to each other. Imagine that I have paid something for somebody on somebody's behalf, knowing that that person has already struck a deal with the other person. So two parties have already struck a deal. They were kind enough to bring me in so that I can also see whatever it is that I want, right? And then all I have to do is, because I have cash in hand, is I'm paying on the other party's behalf. So that at the end, that party is going to pay me back anyway, as soon as we come back. So, but now I'm thinking that, oh, you know what? I used my money. I paid on their behalf, but I used my money. So it's not wrong of me if I also like that same thing. And, if it was me, I would give in. But again, if it was you and you would give in, then why are you creating this whole problem in the first place? If it was you and you would give in, then why are you creating the fuss now? Why are you now thinking that, oh, I want it? And I'm thinking that if it was me, I would give in. So, and I've already paid for it. So I asked only 2 questions. I'm like, the deal was done between them first? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, and you paid on their behalf? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so that means that it is an amanat. According to Islam and according to every moral obligation, if you've paid on somebody's behalf, it means that thing belongs to that person and it is an amanat. He owes you the money, you owe him the item. You cannot keep the item and he cannot keep the money. But if you use that as leverage and say that, oh, because I paid on your behalf, but I like this thing too. And I think that, since I've already paid for it, because that is what they kept on saying. And I found that, again, very distasteful. So, if you keep on and on saying that, oh, because I paid after all, you're reminding me of that father who did the same thing to his own child for as long as, for forever, really. Pretending to give something to somebody and then saying, oh, after all, it's my money anyway. It's my money anyway. Yeah, so who wanted it? Who asked for it? Keep it to yourself. Nobody asked for your money. Keep it to yourself. This is how you humiliate somebody else. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that it's better not to take anything from anybody, because people will turn around and humiliate you for such little things, because it is humiliation. In Islam, too, it is considered a colossal humiliation that you are using leverage against somebody, and that kind of a stupid leverage that, oh, I paid on your behalf, so that thing actually belongs to me. No, it doesn't, because you paid on their behalf. Now, it is the other person's generosity that person is now just to basically kill the argument, to kill any future grudges, resentments, arguments, just to, although mind you, that person will harbor resentment, they will give in, but the fact that you said such a thing is what they will never forget. And that deep-seated, that little seed of resentment has now entered and sullified or soiled the relationship between you two, you know. So, for example, okay, here's another example I'll give you. I'm the kind of person, when I pierced my nose when I was in England, when my friend took me, and she's like, okay, you've been like procrastinating for God knows how long, and she grabbed me and she's like, let's just go and get your nose pierced after all, okay, because it's too much now. You're overthinking. And she took me there, and we got my nose pierced, and then she went with me. I mean, in the same it was a goldsmith, the jeweler. He was an Indian jeweler who pierced my nose, and then she helped me look for a nose ring. And guess what? When we both got the same kind of nose rings, but I chose the nose ring that was, to me, slightly defective. Defective in the sense it was not fully round. It had a slight bend to it. And I let her have the one that was fully round, a complete hoop, right? The second time we went to the jeweler's to get a tiny nose pin, again, the nose pin that I got was actually literally defected, and it was only later that I found out when it had a crack in it. And so I kept it, and when I came back to Pakistan, I had my own family jeweler fix it. And he said, yeah, the crack it was damaged when you bought it. It was basically broken when you bought it. It was just a matter of you handling it, But I let her have the one in perfect condition. I actually saw the crack, yes. I saw the crack when we came home after buying, and I was like, who's going to go and return it? So I just took the one that had the crack, and I let her have the other one. And her husband, clueless of clueless, the idiots of all idiots, he was coming and he's like, oh, I don't know how you broke this stuff. You look at my wife, she's so good with her stuff, she's so good at dealing with dainty, fragile stuff. Her stuff never breaks. See how easily she put the nose pin in her nose. And I was like, you moron. I actually took very quietly and silently the broken nose pin. That's why it didn't break in her hands. I actually already got the broken one. Thank you very much. It was already broken, but I didn't say anything to him. But I mean, that is what I'm saying, that this is the kind of person I was. I used to keep quiet. My mother is this kind of person that she doesn't answer either. But now I've made it a point that now I think it's very, very important to give an answer to such people. It is. It's very important. Because when people act like that, that you actually literally took a sacrifice or took a hit for them, and then they're acting like that, you really would want to smack them. The present me, the me today, I would have smacked them, to be honest. Yes, I would have smacked them, and then I would have berated them on their selfishness. So, yeah. So I have now learned to berate people when they go overboard in such things. And I've also learned to very nicely and politely tell people where their limits are. It's very important, So similar, I've seen such feuds, and as I said, it's happened to me too. Like I'm always giving things to people whenever they like it. I'm always giving them the best of the things. I'm always keeping the worst of things with myself. Never say a word. But I have also, I've also faced that experience where somebody gave me 10 rupees. Yeah, 10 rupees as a loan, no less. That same person who very shamelessly, when I was living in England, always asked me for stuff that I would send, and I would send very expensive stuff. I mean, convert pounds into rupees. Hello. And I would send lots of stuff to that person. And even when I came back to Pakistan, I brought stuff for that person. Never took a penny. Not even the stuff that person actually ordered, as in they actually told me that please get us this stuff. I didn't take a cent from them. And when that person had to give me 10 rupees, yeah, the 10 rupees that is now a coin, by the way, this is the value of 10 rupees now, that it's actually a freaking coin. And after literally half an hour, that person berated me and taunted me that I gave you 10 rupees. I went straight up to my wallet, took out the 10 rupees and threw it at their face. Yeah, I literally threw it at their face. And I'm like, frack you. Seriously. You come to me now and hell will freeze over before you come to me needing something and I'll ever be there for you again. I cut off ties like this. When you have a toxic person, just cut off ties, just like that. It is very crucial, mind you, it's very crucial for your peace of mind to stay away. And so, this whole caboodle that happened where this person, that took me there, And so this person, it means, didn't even want, they kept on saying that they wanted my opinion and because they felt I would give a very fair opinion. I gave my fair opinion, but they kept on and on harping about whatever it was. So because it means they didn't really want my opinion, right? They wanted my opinion. I told them two things. I'm like, if it was me, I would look at two things. One, the deal was done in my absence, way before I even saw the thing. Number two, I've paid on their behalf. So it is an amanat for me. To me, it is an amanat which I have to return to them at all costs. And I would never set my eyes on that thing, no matter how much I like it. To me, it already belongs to them. But you keep on and on harping that, no, but you see I, no, but you see I. So it means you really, why did you call me to waste my time? It means you really did not want. So at the end, I'm like, listen, you go, you ask your friend nicely that, listen, I have never asked for anything from you, but I really, really like this thing. Then can you just let me have it? And I'm like, what's going to happen? They're going to let you have it. Because I knew the other person too. And I was like, they're just going to let you have it anyway. So it's no big deal. Just forget it. Because the other person at the end, although one would argue the other person had full rights over this, and it had nothing whatsoever to do with their relationship or their friendship, that, oh, I'm always doing so much for her. But again, she's always doing so much for you. Whenever you have to go somewhere, she's there with you. When you need to find something, she's there for you. When she's the one introducing you to new people, she's the one helping you out to get stuff you want. She's the one who introduced you to so many friends. She's the one who is, trying to get stuff done for you whenever you need it. Although, again, you are a very independent person and you're doing your own stuff yourself too. But I mean, the point is, if you are so quick to talk about how, you do so much for her, one would think that you would also be equally quick to remember that she's doing a lot for you too. And this is again the same thing that, when two brothers would come to me with the same quibble, I would say, you may not realize it, but you feel that you're doing so much for your brother. But your brother has probably done something for you that was so meaningful to him, that was so important to him. He probably sacrificed that for you. And you wouldn't even know because he hasn't told you. Similarly, when I see two friends, I say the same thing. I'm like, you do not even know, or when I see three friends also, I'm like, you do not even know what the other two friends, how deep their friendship are, how old their friendship is, how much they have been through together, how much they have given and taken from each other. You don't know. You're kind of, you're a third person here, and you have your own relationship with each of them, which doesn't necessarily have to be the same. You're not a family, you're friends. And each relationship is completely individual, and it's different, and it's subjective, and it's personal. And for example, as I said, I have introduced so many friends together, to each other, right? They're all friends with each other, all three of them. They keep in contact. They're all, but I never thought that it was my place or my right to now dictate their friendship to them, or the levels of friendship or the levels of contact that they wish to have with each other. It's none of my business. I have a different friendship with all of them. Okay, and then I am the one mutual friend that introduced them all together, but that is the past. Now they are already friends of each other. It's been years. I don't even see why that is supposed to be pertinent or important in our relationship. I don't even care because it doesn't matter. Okay, tell me, if I were to introduce them and they didn't get along, then what? So why am I supposed to take credit for the fact that they got along? I never even get this. To be honest, I never get this either. You know, when people think, oh, we introduced them together and then, yeah, okay, you introduced them together. That's really lovely of you. And Islamically too, you're probably going to get a reward of helping two people meet and connect. But they've gotten along, alhamdulillah. You can only take credit because they got along. Although, what's the credit there? They got along because they got along. They connected. But there are so many friends who, for example, are friends together. They have that one mutual friend, but they don't get along with each other. They only get along with that mutual friend and they only tolerate each other because of that mutual friend. Remember? Yeah, there are those kind of friendships too. So, what then? Is that mutual friend supposed to keep on reminding them how, they're together because of that person? That is so stupid. That is beyond stupid. So, yeah, as I said, it's not my place. It's not my place to get in between two friends. It's not my place to analyze the friendship between two friends. Everybody has their own friendship level. Everybody develops a more deeper connection or lesser connection with each other. It depends. For example, I have so many friends from college who we were all together. But guess what? Two of them landed in America, one of them in Canada. And yet, you know what? The one in America and the one in Canada are in the closest connection with each other than any one of us. You know, there's another one in America too, but she's not. So, what does that tell you? Every friendship is personal, it's deeply personal. You cannot sit and dictate the level of friendship other friends should have with each other. Just like how you wouldn't like anybody dictating the kind of friendship you would have, right, with anybody else. So, yeah, to me, this is, I think, very, very important in order to understand and analyze, as I said, how classless we are becoming as people and how we're thinking as people, where we're constantly thinking about, how we can justify ourselves or our desires or our wants or our needs, be it parents, be it friends, be it siblings, be it relatives. It's and that again is why I do not take anything from anybody, no matter how eagerly they I've set a sort of it's a silent implied rule. I do not take anything from anybody. I will give, I will not take. Because I have seen people fall so low for such little things. And as I said, for example, we're the kind of people that we give gold and silver to people, and we still have to listen to shit from those same people who give us either nothing in return or something, again, of not much monetary value. And yet we give them that regard and we say thank you and all, but they're sitting bitching about thinking about how they can try to, and then a third person comes and tells them that this is actually gold. Thank you. And this is actually silver, and it's pure silver, and this is pure gold. And what the frack are you people trying to do here? So, literally, luckily, when you have a third person that comes and shuts their mouth, you get vindicated. But that doesn't often happen, right? So, yeah. And also, as I said, it's very disrespectful when friends backbite about each other. Again, as I said, remember the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, they made that clear, because when the Prophet said that whatever you say behind somebody's back is backbiting and it's a sin, it is eating the flesh off of your brother's back, right? And the companion said, even if whatever we're saying is true, and he said, yes, even if whatever you're saying is true. It means backbiting does not mean something that you are falsely attributing to somebody else. It's not rumors and gossips that you're making up about somebody else. It can be something entirely true. It can be exaggerated. It can be anything. It can be bad. It can be negative. It can be made into something negative in any way. It can be taken negatively, even if not said negatively. So it is still backbiting. And again, when I see people who go around teaching hadith and teaching Quran, again, I go back to that because I see this a lot amongst those people. When I see people who are teaching the Quran, teaching hadith, doing these classes and all, and there are the very people who disregard these basic etiquettes of Islam. Do not backbite. Do not talk about one person to another behind their back. Do not make up rumors. Do not listen to gossip. When they're doing all of that. So, do you think they're qualified to have hadith classes, or to talk about the Quran, or to teach the Quran, or to teach tafsir, or to teach anything? Do you, I mean, sorry, because when somebody is teaching you something on religion, you have high expectations. You don't think of that person as just a normal human being anymore. It's like a mufti, right? A mufti, a scholar. When they are teaching you about religion, it means at least 90% of their lives should be practicing that religion, right? It should. If you're a religious scholar, then are you a religious scholar in name only? If you're a religious scholar in name only, then do not give dawah. Do not preach. Do not do counseling. Do not teach. You understand? But if you are doing all of that, then you're not supposed to be a normal human being who disregards at least basic Islamic everyday etiquette, right? You should at least follow those, right? So the same goes for those who teach you Quran, tafsir, and who teach you, hadith, and who do all these religious gatherings. Yes, because then people automatically expect them to be religious. And what does it mean by being religious? It doesn't mean just praying. Being religious means practicing that religion as much as you can in your everyday life. And what is the most basic practices of all practice? What is it? What is the most basic practice of all practices? It is, do not lie, do not gossip, do not backbite, right? Do not be a hypocrite. Keep your dignity and respect others. Respect their dignity. If you cannot even adhere to these simple rules, I'm sorry, you're not qualified. So tell me what you really think of it. And 40 minutes really have passed, seriously. But I hope I made my points here. I hope I've gotten through. And I hope it's helping others. Again, if this was me, first of all, I never, ever think about how much I've done for somebody. As I told you, I've trained my brain to forget. Whatever I do or buy or get anything for somebody, I forget. Because the one thing that is most humiliating to me is that if, God forbid, I end up humiliating somebody else based on some pathetic act that I did for them. Okay, number one. Number two, dignity. Helping not just my dignity, but helping preserve another person's dignity. Number three, if somebody has made a deal way before you came into the picture, and all you did was pay on that person's behalf, that does not justify. Neither does the fact that you think that you have done so much for that person, forgetting that that person has probably done a lot more for you. And so you think, if that is the way you think, then I'm sorry, you're a lost cause. Yeah, I mean, again, if you're asking me that what would I as a person, yeah, I would consider myself a lost cause if I'm going down that road. It is an amanat. An amanat is an amanat. Okay? The rest is all your relationships and your friendships and how they factor in. And this is me signing out, and I hope to God I don't have to pick up the mic again. I need to eat. You probably heard my stomach rumble in between. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.